A generation ago, there was a typical paradigm when it came to the household finances. Basically, the men took care of everything. Well, that is most definitely not the case these days. Women not only contribute significantly to the shared income, sometimes they exceed the men. So today we are looking at the challenges women face with their investments and retirement. We have Michael Martinez, the president of the Pension Group, joining us once again. Good to see you, Mike.
Great to be here.
All right, first of all, why are there different strategies for women when it comes to their investments? Let's start there.
Well, one of the things I think we all know is that women live longer than men. That's one of the important things, so longevity becomes an issue. Obviously, if women live longer than men, we have to have an investment plan that's designed to keep up with inflation and obviously last a lot longer. So I think that would be one of the areas that we have to concentrate on from that standpoint.
All right, so what are some of the other challenges they face besides longevity? I mean, what are we looking at?
Well, the other issue that we run into, let's face it, as far as a nation, 1 in 50, or 50% of the people get divorced. Unfortunately, I've been through a divorce as well, from that standpoint. So when you start looking at divorce, how does that play in regards to a woman's finances? If like you mentioned earlier, maybe, a lot of the women let the men, take over the finances, throughout the marriage and things of that nature, and maybe they don't have a clear understanding as to what's happening. Then all of a sudden a divorce happens. Then what do you do in that type of situation? Right. And then all of a sudden there's a lot of statistics out there that show men after divorce maybe lose about 10% of their income, but as a woman they lose about 27% when it comes to their income. So it's a big adjustment to them because, again, maybe you don't have a two-family income anymore. The disparity in income. Sometimes women don't make as much as men. So again, it has a negative effect on them when it comes to planning for retirement.
Do you still see a lot of women that come in your office maybe with their spouse and are kind of starting from, ground zero? They don't really know what's going on with the finances still? Because I imagine that generation that's retiring now, that was the case, right? I mean, it was the men handling the finances. So these women are getting prepared and probably need a little bit more insight from you.
Yeah, I have a great client, we'll call her Carol.
Okay.
and I love these clients, and one of the things she always tells me, she says, Mike, all I want to know is that, if something happens to my husband that I got enough for shopping.
Right.
And I said, Carol, you'll be fine.
Priorities, Carol.
It's always a little joke between us, and her husband, but when you get into a situation like that, really what women want to know they're being taken care of, but I certainly have that situation where the women maybe not are up to speed on the whole finances. It was up to the man to make those decisions. And again, what ends up happening if your spouse passes away, now you're thrown into a situation where now you have to make those decisions. What happened, if something happened back in 2008 and the market's dropping, typically we find more women are more conservative in investing than men.
Sure.
And they may make irrational decisions when they see a market downturn. And again, I'm not saying you have to be overly aggressive. I mean, you should have some equities, bonds, and things like that. But again, we don't want to let emotions make a decision in a down market, when it comes to that. So again, there's some other psychological factors factoring in, if the husband is always taking care of the finances, and then all of a sudden that spouse passes away, what does the woman do? Again, that's why we want to educate women on their options, educate them on, how they need to look at retirement as well, because they have to be kept in the loop, because when that situation does occur because of longevity, we want to make sure that they're taken care of and they understand their financial situation.
So what would you recommend to women out there, either single or married right now, at any point in their life? Do you recommend that they come in with the spouse, they come in alone, sit down, have a conversation? What's the best way to kind of get educated?
Well, I mean, obviously you're single, you're going to come in by yourself. I think that's the earlier you start. If you're in your 20s, 30s, set up a time, give us a call. But then you're going to get, couples. We always, if you're married, we always want both couples to be there. We don't want to just sit down with one spouse or the other. We want both to be there so they know they're all on the same page when it comes to that. And there's a few clients that I have that the women were the breadwinners in the family, and they're the ones that are making the financial decisions. So I think maybe that has some dictation. If I'm making more money, maybe I have a little more say when it comes to the finances, or maybe we're equal from that standpoint. But I do have a few women clients that are very knowledgeable on stuff and understand this stuff inside and out. And I wish more women were, but I think it's one of those things, women in investing. That's why we're doing this segment, to educate people, educate women more importantly, on what these options are.
And good thing things have changed, because I think women more and more these days getting involved, getting educated, wanting to know what's going on with their money. So they can always go to the Pension Group, the website, the phone number up on screen. Mike, thank you as always.
Thank you.